everyone, and welcome to the newly revamped, rebranded Bobby's World 2110's Rise of Dragons podcast. My name is Robert Blanchard, but my friends call me Bobby. And this rebranding has been coming for a long time, and I've been thinking a lot about it. Thinking a lot about cross-branding my YouTube channel along with my writing. I kept it apart for quite a while because, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it went together. I don't know, it felt weird to me. I don't know why, but I think now is the time with things picking up with the YouTube channel, and, I'm trying to get back into my writing, but it's been very difficult to find time to do that. If you only listen to my podcast and have not been watching my YouTube channel, you probably don't know that I am now a store manager at the job that I work at now. I went through the management training program, and now I'm a manager, and I have a lot less time on my hands than I used to. So trying to juggle all of that, and that's also part of the reason why there hasn't been a podcast in about a year. So I'm trying to move that back into the rotation as well, and that's been very difficult. So I apologize profusely for that, but I have to thank you guys because the podcast still has over 250 downloads, which is completely insane. And I appreciate you guys so much for that. So yeah, so we're gonna revamp some things. Like I said, the way the format is going to work, at least for the time being, is the first part of the show is going to be about my writing, and then we'll do a YouTube section where I talk about the channel and what's going on and the shows that have been going on. And then at the end, I'll talk a little bit about life and maybe do some shout outs. So that is the plan as of right now. So hopefully you guys are along for the ride, and hopefully you enjoy this change, and hopefully you can appreciate it and see it for what it is. I'm just trying to bring everything together and bring more entertainment into everybody's lives as much as I possibly can, as much as I'm always trying to do. So yeah, that's the plan as of right now. So I guess we'll move on to the writing section, shall we? When it comes to the writing, I guess I just basically want to talk about, because I really haven't had a chance to do a lot of work in that arena very much lately. I've been trying to, but not a whole lot. But I've been thinking a lot about when I finished book 1, The Roar of a Dragon. The success of it at the time kind of blew me away. I was not prepared for that at all. And I talked a lot about how long it took me to put that story together, and when I finally figured out what I wanted to write with that, I think I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted the ending to the story to be. Like the ending of the whole series, like The Cry of a Raven. I don't think I really had as much of an idea of what I wanted to do in the middle. And I think the middle chapter is always a very difficult thing to put together in any series. And so it took a little time for me to figure out what that was. I knew obviously that I wanted to do something different, and I knew that somebody had to die. I know that's a terrible way of looking at it, but when you're a writer and when you write a story with a bunch of characters in it, especially one that involves, conflict and battle and things like that, if nobody dies, there's no stakes involved. And at some point, you got to sacrifice one of your characters to move the story along and to make things have emotional weight, I guess, to add to it or whatever. So I won't get into any spoilers here as to which character that was. You can go back in the podcast and the podcast episodes and see who it was. Or you can read the books. They're available on robertblanchardbooks.com. But yeah, those were obviously main points and main things that I wanted to happen in the second book. And I kind of also knew that I wanted Aiden to be on the other side, as it were, not not be a bad guy or anything, but Aiden does get kidnapped, essentially, and he gets kidnapped because Lady Mirabelle gets kidnapped, and he goes crazy trying to find her, and then, he basically falls into the arms of the enemy. So he's being held captive, and he's being tortured, and, that leads to the eventual, rescue, and, the story evolves from there. But, I knew it had to be something different than what happened in the first book, which was, and the story in the first book was really something that hooked a lot of people. It was a little bit different. Aiden, on the verge of becoming a knight. But, before that can happen, he's exiled for saving Iskandar, the baby dragon, and then he gets murdered. And then he wakes up 3,000 years later with strange powers and looking completely different than he was before. So, I mean, that is still a mystery, even as the series has ended, that, we still don't really know what has happened with that. I have an idea of what happened, and I intend to write that at some point, but obviously we're not there yet. And the book I'm working on now is a zombie apocalypse novel that I promised my boys that I would finish. So I have talked about that too. There is an episode of the podcast on that. So yeah, I think it's important to, you have to change around the story a little bit, especially as you're getting into different chapters of the story. And you have to keep things fresh and move things along. It can be very difficult to do sometimes, and especially, you don't want to involve too many cliches, and you don't want to repeat the same ideas, which again is very difficult because virtually every idea you can possibly think of has been done, but you try to find ways to make it fresh, and you find ways to make it your own, and I think that's the most important part of the whole thing, is making the ideas your own, and doing whatever you can to make it your story and not somebody else's. So yeah, when I look back on the second book, The Treachery of a Weasel, I'm very happy with what I wrote and with what I accomplished with that one. It was definitely a different take on the story, and I think it changed a lot of things around for a lot of characters. Actually, I know it did, but I think it changed ways, and I think it changed things in ways that people weren't expecting. And obviously you want to do that too as a writer and as a creator. You want to keep people guessing a little bit. And I'm happy that I was able to do that. The reviews that I got on it were pretty favorable at the time. And I think it led very nicely into The Cry of a Raven, which, obviously I waited a very long time to write that story, and it turned out very, very well, and I'm very satisfied with the conclusion of that story. And I'm so looking forward to writing the next version of that series. I just have no idea when it'll be. The YouTube portion of my life is just all consuming, and trying to stay on a strict schedule and do all that stuff, and just trying to fit the writing into, my itinerary of things, and all that is just very, very difficult. But I'm still every day trying to find a way to make it work, and I hope one day to find that perfect balance where I can record my videos and edit them and get them up, and then find time for writing, and on a consistent basis, so I can finally finish these stories and get them out to you guys, so you guys can enjoy them, and tell me what you think one way or the other. That's really the basis of any type of creation, so that's the dream one day, to fully make it work. Unfortunately, there's just not enough hours in a day. So I think that's the main sticking point for all of us in anything. It's just there's just not enough hours in a day. So yeah, that's the hard part, but we're all gonna find a way to make it work. So yeah, I think we're all doing the best we can. So it is what it is. All right, we are now going to move to the YouTube portion of the show. The YouTube channel is Bobby's World 2110. So if anyone's looking to find the channel and see what shenanigans we're getting into, that's where you can find it. The YouTube channel is it's been around for over 10 years, actually like 11 years now, which is just absolutely crazy for me to think about. But I took a 3-year hiatus from making videos, which resulted in me being demonetized for inactivity. So all this work I'm doing now is work to be remonetized. I have to get 4,000 watch hours in a year. So it's very difficult. Just recently, I broke the 1,000 hour barrier. Took me 5 years to do, but the channel has experienced a lot of growth in the past year. So the bulk of that has happened in the past year. So it's an ever constant battle that I'm trying to fight, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm enjoying the challenge. So you know, we're just fighting the battle on all fronts at this point. Right now, the format is on Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is Soulsborne challenge videos. I have done Dark Souls 3. I have done Sekiro. I have done Dark Souls Remastered. I've done Elden Ring. I've done 2 chapters of Elden Ring. Elden Ring is such a enormous game that I've separated them into chapters, like Chapter 1 Limgrave and Chapter 2 Learning of the Lakes. So I think I haven't decided what Chapter 3 is going to be, because usually I would go into the Royal Capital for a while and then make my way to wherever that place that Radon is, the poison place. It's not coming to me off the top of my head right now, but because that area is actually pretty difficult. But I think that might end up being Chapter 3. I don't know what happens. But right now, it's Bloodborne, the no blood vial run. Most of these runs have been no healing runs of some sort. And by no healing, I mean I don't use the main healing element, whether it be the Estus Flask or the Crimson Flask in Elden Ring and things like that. So it's no blood vials for Bloodborne. I can still heal in other ways with rings that, I can heal by, if I kill someone, I regain a little bit of health, or by critical hits or whatever. I can do that, although I don't use spells. I don't use the spells in Dark Souls or Elden Ring. I consider that to be cheating. So, yeah. So I don't do that, but those have been the videos I've been doing now. So I've been doing Bloodborne, the no blood vial challenge. And the latest episode, as I'm recording this, is episode 3. And I've been fighting the Cleric Beast. And it's my second episode at the Cleric Beast, because the first episode I had to step away because I received some news in the middle of recording that kind of pissed me off. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to go into details. It was about work, but yeah, I couldn't focus after that. So I had to apologize and step away and, come back to it. And that's what this past episode was. So yeah, there was that's what this episode's all about. This entire episode is me fighting the Cleric Beast. It's a relatively short episode. My episodes tend to run 20, 30, sometimes 40 minutes, sometimes longer than that. And the boss episodes that I do are usually win or bust episodes, which means I'm beating the boss in this episode or it's a failure. And that doesn't necessarily mean I beat them in one day. It could take hours, days. It hasn't taken weeks yet. But yeah, I do have to say that I've had one failure in my win or bust episodes. In my playthroughs, I've had one failure, and it was in Dark Souls Remastered. I could not beat Ornstein and Smough. Could not beat them. I tried many, I think I was like 75 tries, something like that, which in the number of tries actually pales in comparison to a lot of others. I think it was over 200 for Ishin and Sekiro before I finally beat him. But I did come to find out that I was probably 10 or 11 levels under where I should have been in Anor Londo and Dark Souls Remastered. So there's a chance I may come back and revisit that someday. But as of right now, they are my only failure. I have managed to beat Dark Souls 3 without leveling up and without the Estus Flask. Separate playthroughs. I did beat Sekiro without the healing gourd. I did beat Elden Ring without the Crimson Flask in Limgrave and in Learning of the Lakes. And I feel like I'm missing a playthrough in there somewhere, but yeah. So yeah, now we're doing Bloodborne, and I'm only on episode 3, but it took quite a few tries to beat the Cleric Beast, and I think this playthrough is going to be a rough one. So yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens, but it's going to be interesting times. The channel has seen a programming change recently. Wednesdays used to be Soulsborne Battle to the Death. I created this little generator that had like 100 Soulsborne bosses in it, and it would just cycle and cycle and cycle through until, you know, I would stop it and I would pick 2 random Soulsborne bosses, and then I would pit them against each other, and then I would decide who I thought would win. The original format of the show was just that. It was just a selecting of bosses, and then I would choose who I would feel would win. But my boys, Christian and Aiden, got involved in the, I guess, the creative process as I showed them certain things. And Christian suggested that I do like bios and things like that, and then have like a decision section where I decide who I think would win and things like that. And then later on, I added special spots to the generator, like a triple threat match. Oh boy, what else did I add? Devil's Choice, where I could choose a stipulation, I guess. I don't even think I really even landed on that one that much. I put myself in as a boss. I did get picked 3 times, and I lost all 3 times. I lost to Yorm the Giant. I lost to High Lord Wolnir, I think. And I can't remember who I lost to on the 3rd one. But I was determined that if I landed on Pinwheel, that I was definitely going to beat him. Pinwheel was the joke boss of all of Soulsborne Battles of Death. So every time I landed on him, I was like, oh, Jesus, this freaking guy. Oh, my God. You know, it was just a hilarious fun time. But I decided that Battle to the Death had run its course, and I switched it out, and I moved to a different series on the channel where it was more of a vlog style type series. It's called Your Father's Story. I had bought this book from Walmart called Your Father's Story, and it was a book you were supposed to fill out for your kids, for when, you know, even later, you don't have to necessarily pass on in life or anything, but it was just something your kids could read when you got older, and it would tell them all about you and things like that. Of course, I managed to sit on this book for a year and not do anything with it, so I decided I would make videos about it. So that became the regular Wednesday show. It's Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way. I don't even know if I said that. So it's been, I don't know, 3-4 weeks now since that's been the main Wednesday show, and it's starting to pick up steam a little bit, so I'm happy about that. I think as you are listening to this, episode 13 just went up this past Wednesday. So yeah, I've really been enjoying that. I've been glad to see that that's been catching on a little bit. So that's a good thing, and I'm very, very happy about that. The channel also has Bobby's World Hunger Games on there. It's me and my friends in a Hunger Games simulator. So that's a fun time. We all look forward to that. And there's been 28 of those so far. And oh, goodness, just fun times. Just we all look forward to it when it comes out. Whenever I put a new one out, everyone gets excited. And I used to do premieres so we'd all be in the chat and we all watch it together, and everyone would react in real time. It was very cool. So you can go back and watch those too. Obviously, the chat is still there, and I don't recall exactly what episode it starts at, what episode it ends at, but there's probably 10 episodes in there from, like, I don't know, 13 to 23, somewhere in that range, where every show was a premiere. So yeah, check that out. It's probably even more fun just looking at the chat and watching everyone react. So that was never a regular show on the channel, but it was just something I do every once in a while. And recently I have started doing a live stream every Saturday. That was something I've been trying to get in the works for a couple of years. I finally made it work this year every Saturday at, it was 7 p.m. Now it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm doing a live stream. I just play games. Everyone comes in the chat, and we just have a chill, fun time. It's called Bobby's Gaming Lounge. The games vary from week to week. Obviously, I'm just playing different things all the time, but the audience is generally the same. Aiden and Christian and their friends are generally in there. And we picked up a couple new people. We've got Gummy Bear, who is just a random fan that just found my channel during a Resident Evil stream one time, and he's been there almost every week since, and which is awesome. It's just very cool to have someone just random just choose me as their person and be there almost every single week. So that's been very, very cool. This past week, I just did some Grand Theft Auto 5 shenanigans. I just rode around the city and caused chaos all over the place, and it was just fun times, just insanity everywhere. So yeah, that was very, very cool. A couple weeks ago, I played Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which is a Souls-like game. It was free on PlayStation Plus a couple weeks ago, or like a couple months ago. So I did that. I've done some Spider-Man Miles Morales. I've lately the mainstays have been, I played Resident Evil 7. That wasn't even a thing that was supposed to happen, but Christian suggested that to me. So I played it and I fell in love with it. And yeah, people have been around for that. They've been watching me go through Resident Evil 7 and then Resident Evil Village a few weeks later. So yeah, that's been a big deal. And in a few weeks I'm going to do Resident Evil Requiem. So I am very, very much looking forward to that. It's going to be sick. It's going to be a fun time. So yeah, that's what's been going on in the YouTube channel. It's been crazy growth and stuff like that the past year and a half or so. We've been hitting new subscriber milestones every few weeks. Just a couple weeks ago, I hit 5,600 subscribers, and I just hit 5,700 a couple of days ago. So that's been amazing, and I really appreciate you guys so much. I've talked a lot about working my ass off at my full-time job and then this job. And, when I got the job of becoming manager, my girlfriend Kate talked to me about, if you really want to keep doing the YouTube stuff, I'll support you. And, as long as you're not getting too burned out, and as long as you're not, driving yourself into the ground, I'll support you and I'll help you maintain that schedule, and she's just been amazing every step of the way. So, I really appreciate that. And, everybody looks forward to it. As far as the live stream goes, my son Aiden's girlfriend Abby has been a major contributor in the chat, and I love it so much. It's been so awesome. So it's been great to have her around. She's just a great person, and she's great for my son. So yeah, it's been an extra special part of it. So yeah, that's what's going on in the YouTube channel, and there's no end in sight. So I'm just gonna keep throwing that content out there, and hopefully you guys keep soaking it up and asking for more. So that is the plan as of right now. All right, let's get some shout outs now, shall we? These shout outs are mostly going to be for my live stream audience. So they've been huge supporters, and I love them and appreciate them so much. So I want to shout out, obviously, Christian and Aiden and Abby and Chase and Gummy Bear / Gamer Pixel. I want to shout out Vaporish Titan, who is a big fan and has been a major help in the Resident Evil games. If you watch some of those episodes, he used to help me with riddles, which was a fun time, and it was pretty cool how he would help me do that. So yeah, that was it's very cool. Vaporish Titan is a big supporter of the channel. I want to shout out the Blur. I definitely want to shout out Zach. I can't forget Zach. Zach is my boy and also another big supporter of the channel. And I also want to do a special shout out because when I played the Resident Evil 7 and Village games, I shit a lot on Ethan Winters and what an idiot he is. What a terrible protagonist he was. And I got some support in some part of the community, but another part of the community did not agree with me so much. But I put up a short probably about a week ago that was entitled "What Did I Say About Ethan?" Ethan Winters, and the short basically is I think it was Heisenberg talking to Ethan, and he says something about using his daughter Rose as against Miranda or something along those lines or something like that. And Ethan says, "You're taking Rose" or something like that, and he's like, "I'd like to see you try." And I was like, "What are you talking about? They already took Rose. Like, they took her at the beginning of the game. Like, I didn't know what Ethan was talking about, and this game does Ethan absolutely no favors. He sounds more and more stupid every time he talks." So I had to shout it out, and I was like, the Ethan Winters fans are going to be so mad at me again. But I do have to shout out this guy. It's PlayStation 4-M3N. 6 days ago on that short, he commented, "They made Ethan the casual audience so hard. Your criticism is spot on. This is one of the few installments that captured a newer audience, so they had to make some concession with the laughing emoji." So I got at least one person on my side, and a Vaporish Titan was always on my side when it came to Ethan Winters. It just he just does and says some of the dumbest things, but that's just the way the game is, I guess. It just made him just look stupid and things like that. And I have said in the past that in order to be a protagonist, you have to be stupid to a certain degree. But I know it just with Ethan, it was just always on a whole new level. So it's just I don't know. I didn't understand. I didn't get it. But he is a guy fighting for his family and all that stuff. Even though I also disagree with the beginning of Village. He's like, Maya's like, "I don't want to talk about it," and Ethan's like trying to shove it down her throat, like what happened 3 years prior, the horrific events that they went through, and like, dude, you gotta. I know, like, you have to deal with it, and she has to deal with it, but like you're probably not going to deal with it in the same way. And if she doesn't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. Talk about it with someone else. That's what a therapist is for. Like, I don't know. It's just I just didn't agree with it, but it is what it is. So, yeah, poor Ethan Winters. Not the brightest bulb in the box, but he was definitely the protagonist of those games. That could not be taken away from him. Whether he was a good protagonist or not is up to the player's imagination. But to me, he was what he was. He just accepted it and just you moved on. So yeah, those are my shout outs for this week. So I love you guys and I appreciate you guys, and the support is just I can't say enough good things about it. It means the world to me, and as long as it's there, I'm going to keep doing whatever I can do to entertain you guys. So yeah, I guess that's it for. I never even said in the beginning of this is episode 25 of the Rise of Dragons podcast. So that's going to do it for episode 25. Aiden and Abby actually graduated a couple days ago as I'm recording this, so congratulations to them, and I got to drive in the parade, and that was a lot of fun. So a very special day, and now they move on to a new chapter in their lives, and I'm glad I get to be there for it. I'm glad I get to be a part of it. So yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm also really glad that I finally got to record this episode of the podcast. I've been trying to do this for weeks, and it's been very difficult. I worked a 60-hour week a couple weeks ago, and my boss, God bless her, she's very much about the work-life balance for the managers, us trying to maintain that as much as possible. And she called me, and she was like, "You worked a lot of hours last week." I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I just apologize for everything. It's who I am." And she's like, "Well, you're salaried. You can work as many hours as you want to." It was like, well, it wasn't really planned that way, but it just was what it was. But circumstances dictated that I had to work all of those hours, and it was rough going there for a little while. I had to be dragged out of the store. I had been awake for 30 something hours plus, and I had leaked sensitive information to my manager's chat. At least it was the manager's chat. I know them all and they're good people, but it was bad there for a little bit. So my best friend Rachel, who is also in the Hunger Games, the Bobby's World Hunger Games, so you can go check that out. If you've seen it, you know who she is. Came to this, she's also another manager in the company that I work for. Came to drag me out of the store and make me go home and get some sleep. So it's always nice to have that love and support, and I really, really appreciate it. So yeah, episode 25 is in the books, and 26 is sure to be around the corner. I hope to be able to maintain this on a more regular basis. I've always said that the podcast is like the easiest thing to do out of all the things that I do, but it's just always the thing that took the sacrifice when I didn't have time. The YouTube channel is on such a schedule that I just maintain that as much as humanly possible, and the podcast is always the thing that took a hit, and I've always been sorry for that because I love doing the podcast, and it was just always the thing that got sacrificed. So hopefully I can get back on it, and adding YouTube to it, I'll always have something to talk about. There's always something to talk about with my writing too, but it's just sometimes a little bit more difficult, and hopefully with the expanded audience, merging everything together, hopefully it'll be a little better, a little more cohesive, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I hope you guys appreciate it and are there for it, and if so, I'll just keep doing as much of this as I possibly can. So that's it. That's all I really have to say. So until next week, be well, stay safe. And I will see you guys here next week for episode 26 of the Bobby's World 2110's Rise of Dragons podcast. Until then, take care, guys.